I'm Shiva.
I'm Sandy.
And this is
Our Relaxing Hobby. Hello.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about varying your diet, the diet on your fish,
Yeah,
and
which is
kind of how important that is,
Mhm.
or at least how we feel it's important, and it is important because
Well,
who doesn't want variety in their life?
This is part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want happy fish.
So, and I mean, different fish have different types of obviously different types of dietary requirements. Let's just talk about mine quick because mine are quicker.
Okay.
I just have like the guppies, the mollies. So I
Small
usually
fish.
small tropical fish. And some cories. So I normally just, in the algae, in the plecos. So I usually just, mine is pretty simple. I just use flakes. And then I also
You use
use
tropical flakes, right?
I have tropical flakes. And then I have the algae wafers, but the fish like the algae wafers as well, as do the cories, and the fish will actually, we were just talking about that. And then I occasionally will throw in a couple of shrimp pellets to give them a little bit of, variety. Just for the, mostly the bottom feeders mess with those. Sometimes the guppies will, but not as often. But just, just to vary the diet. You don't want them to get too complacent with whatever. It's probably healthier for them.
It
but
is.
Mine is a pretty simple one. Yours is much more complex.
Yeah, mine's a little
Because you have different types of fish. So
Oh yeah, and
than I
I've
do.
got a wild variety of.
Yeah,
plus
it's a whole thing
that
to feed her fish.
Well, that and I'm also feeding your sorority too, so you don't even know what I'm doing to your girls.
Yeah, because I used to just, when I had the betas, when I had the betas years ago, all I do is do the beta pellets, because I didn't know about which, obviously, if you don't know, you're not going to do it. So all I had was the beta pellets, which, are pretty boring.
Yeah.
And I know there's different types of beta things, different things you can do for betas, now that I'm,
Yeah. No, oh, believe me, I'm spoiling your girls.
they still love me.
Yeah. They do still love you. They just love me more because I give them more of a variety
You
of
actually
food.
feed them, I don't even feed
Yes.
them.
They're on my routine.
I kind of pick them, but she takes care of them.
Well, I do the maintenance on them because they're right they're right there next to a bunch of my other tanks. So it's stupid.
It's
for
really
me to
your
go-
tank, but it was just, I kind of threw them in there.
It would be stupid of me to be, hey Sandy, come feed your girls when I'm right there with the food feeding mine. It's stupid. Okay. There is a really good reason to vary the diet of your fish, and that is simply because it does help them keep their health better. And I wish I could give you the exact scientific reason for this, but
Where's Garrett? Sure, there is one.
well, yeah, there is, and
Just like people, just like animals,
well, it's
you
just
don't
the
want to.
different nutritional values. Like a lot of fish are omnivorous, which means that they'll eat both plant and other fish.
Oh, I forgot about
If
the
you-
plants they eat. Oh Lord, yes, my
And
plants too.
if you look at the ingredients on your fish food, chances are it's either going to have fish meal or some sort of vegetable as the lead ingredient, depending on what type of fish it was formulated for. Now, I mix and match mine because I've got all different types of varieties of fish, and trying to separate the food for these guys, they'll cross-eat anyway, so
Right.
I mix and match
See
a lot.
plecos eating flakes.
Yes.
Sure, there's an
Exactly.
episode on that somewhere.
Oh, I'll stay tuned for video.
Yeah, see video below. By all means, comment on video.
Yes.
Like our page.
Yes,
Share. Subscribe. In case we forget to say that later.
Yes, which we will.
Yeah, we're
You're
trying not to. We're
terrible.
getting better, but
Yeah.
we try to stay in the middle too.
Yeah.
Anyway, go
But
ahead, I'm sorry.
basically, what I try to do is I try to make sure that they get at least one plant-based food and one meat protein-based food in all my tanks. I have plecos in pretty much every tank I have. I've got plecos in, and so I always throw a few of the algae wafers in, which is specifically for plecos, but other fish will munch
Yes.
on them because they're yummy and they provide
the cories
another
like
type
them a
of-
lot. Like I said, mine definitely like them. My
Yeah.
guppies, my mollies.
So what I
Lucifer.
what I generally do is I do a flake, a pellet, the wafers, and then as little treats for most of the fish that don't require it, they'll get like mealworms or bloodworms as a treat once in a while. You can get the bloodworms either freeze-dried or frozen. Either one works. The betas get the freeze-dried ones.
Right. Yes.
And then live plants, a lot of fish will nibble on those, especially if they've got nice little wispy leaves.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of people are, oh, they're eating my plants, it's so horrible. No, it's good that your fish are eating the plants because it means that they're getting
Varied diet. Yeah.
Yes, they're getting a varied diet. They're going to be happy and healthy.
And
that's
you
what
want that, yeah, you want that.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, like we were talking on an earlier episode, another episode about the tadpoles and the, because she feeds her koi and the roguefish tadpoles.
Yep.
Um,
Mealworms.
mealworms, bloodworms. Obviously, with the koi, you've seen the episode on the watermelon.
Yes, fruits,
And-
apples.
yeah.
The only thing they won't eat is cantaloupe right
And
now.
actually, the goldfish will also eat that stuff
Yes,
to some
well,
extent.
goldfish
Yeah,
and-
gold.
or
Well, I meant,
koi are
I
the
meant
same
like your
family.
crazy goldfish over here in the
Oh, you
state.
mean the fancy goldfish, yeah. Well, they're all
Yeah.
carp. Carp are
Yeah.
pretty omnivorous, you know,
Yeah.
throw something in there like, you know, watermelon, fruits, vegetables, small children, they'll, you know.
Don't even, yeah, it's not even funny. They would.
Well,
That's why Sandy doesn't stick her hand in the tank. I don't care what Shiva says.
But yeah, basically varying their diet, it does help promote their health. A lot of it has to do with them being happier, and yeah, happier fish are less stressed. Stress is the #1 killer for fish. So if you've got nice, happy fish
But
that
and
have
another
a,
thing you got to
know,
kind of keep in the back of your head, although it varies, don't overfeed.
yes, you,
It is very easy to overfeed your fish, but then you have lethargic, not healthy fish. So it's
Right.
kind of a balance you have to learn
well,
from your fish.
Yeah, the biggest problem with overfeeding fish too isn't necessarily how much the fish eats, but how much of it is wasted
Waste
at the
at the
bottom,
bottom,
and
yeah.
turns into ammonia.
And there's only so much those bottom feeders can eat too. So, but I mean, I've noticed that, you know, the less I feed my fish, the more active they are.
yes.
When they're completely full and satiated, they just lay there. I mean, that's not even a joke, but I mean, so just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as
You
well.
do want to underfeed rather than overfeed.
Right.
This is a given. Well, like
I think we talked about that previous episode, but it
We
is
have.
something
It
I
is
would want to
something to bring up
reiterate,
here.
yeah. Because, you know, yes, you're varying their diet, but vary their diet within reason.
Right. Now, like with Bettas, which is another popular fish that people have, I've seen, in fact I use, there's a product called 4-in-1, where it's 4 different types of foods in one container. It is so helpful. I actually use those for the rams as well, and the tetras and other fish, because, you know, instead of buying 4 different bags of things to feed all the fish, I just get one of these little canisters. It lasts about a month for all the aquariums we have, and keep in mind we've got a lot of aquariums here. But as far as all the tropical aquariums,
One of these days I'll have to do a count. I'm not going to count them right now.
yeah. But, you know, I just kind of spin the wheel of food and just pick one for the day and sprinkle it in for everybody.
Right.
But you do want to, you know, change it up a bit. You do want to, you know, throw some live plants in. If you have fish that will eat live plants, throw those in. They'll love
And
it.
it's, like I said, bushier, the bushier ones are usually the ones they like the best.
Yes.
I don't know which one of mine is liking the ivy, but one of them is and keeps trying to tear it up. But
I've noticed that a lot of mine are starting to eat the ivy too.
yeah, they didn't eat the ivy at the beginning, but now they're eating the
Pythias
ivy.
is what it's called. Pythias.
Oh.
We call it devil's ivy.
Yeah.
But
We
yeah.
put it in there because it's really easy to grow and it
And
lasts
it really
forever and it's really
sucks up
hardy.
the nitrates. But,
And sucks up those nitrates. But just recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed that somebody's eating mine. It's not. They're not dying. They're literally being torn up.
oh, I'm having a problem with the koi pond. The fish are actually jumping out of the water and grabbing a hold of the low-hanging vines off
Yeah.
the trellis and dragging them in. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, we're fishing for koi without even trying.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, they
So I
love
mean,
that.
yeah, they like a varied diet, and it actually is really healthy for them. Just like I said, don't overfeed it, which is something I wanted to mention.
Yes.
Because you can it's really easy to overfeed them because it's so fun to watch them eat, and they will eat a lot, but they don't need it.
Right.
So just kind of, you know, vary it, but vary within reason.
Yeah. Now, there are some foods that you don't want to feed your fish, and that, again, this depends on the species. I have heard that some foods are poisonous to some fish. So, if you're going to try something outside of the usual spectrum of fish foods available,
Research.
research
By all
it
means,
first.
ask us.
Or
We'll find
ask
out for you.
us.
If we don't know, we will find out. By all means, comment. Ask if you have a specific type of fish and you want to try something different. Before you go throwing it in your tank, ask us. We'll find out.
And I'm going to take this moment to address something that had been discussed a little bit on a outside of this channel group, and that is the idea of feeding carp, specifically koi, cat food. Now, the logic behind it is that cat food, as opposed to dog food, is much higher in protein. Koi generally want to go for a higher protein count, which is why koi food does have a lot of high protein. It's usually the first ingredient is fish meal.
And just for the record, my dog loves koi food.
Yes. Koi and carp are definitely going to want that higher protein diet. Now, if I don't feed mine cat food simply because I'm a snob and I like using, like, you know, higher quality koi food, you know, that has a lot of recommendations from koi breeders. That's what I'm more interested in using. However, poor man's koi food. If you're going to throw cat food to your koi, soak it in water first. You do not want to throw you don't want to throw the food directly into, straight from the bag into your pond. The reason for this is simple. Koi food, a good high quality koi food, will get soft damn near immediately. It softens up and the fish can eat it and digest it carefully. Cat food was never meant to be thrown into water, and it won't soften up that quick. So if you're going to feed your koi cat food, take your cat food.
Get a good cat food too.
Yes, get a good one.
Don't be buying the cheap
Make sure
cat food.
protein's the first ingredient. But take the cat food, put it in a bowl, soak it in water overnight until it's nice and soft and puffy. It looks like one of those sponges you used to throw in. There's in water that grow, you know, one of those things. You want to make sure that that food is saturated, soft, and falls apart to the touch. Then just dump it into your fish. Your fish will eat it, but you don't want to ever throw just dry cat food into a pond. If your fish get a hold of it, it
they
can
don't
knock them
digest
off.
well. It doesn't digest quickly,
And you're going to end up
it
with
can
some
hurt
dead
them.
fish. So, yes, you can feed koi cat food, but do it the right way.
Not that Shiva would do that.
No, the only way that I would do that is if I really could not get a hold of koi
Any
food.
food's emergency, right?
Yeah, if there's an emergency, sure, I'd be raising a cat food. So, important, make sure protein's the main ingredient, make sure to soak it so it's soft enough for the fish to digest.
Right.
Real easy. But yes, plants, definitely.
Plants, if you can get hold of some
Vegetables,
tadpoles, fruit,
Yeah.
cut it up, make sure it's soaky, you know, I mean.
Yeah, now the only type of food that I do not recommend feeding any fish are what you call feeder fish. We've talked about this before, I'm going to talk about it again. Feeder fish are brought up in horrible conditions. They are jam-packed, a bunch of them in a small little tank. One gets sick, they all get sick, and then you're feeding your fish sick fish, and guess what's going to happen to your fish? So, there are other alternatives to feeder fish.
Unless you're breeding the feeder fish yourself, which I have known people to do.
Yeah, if you're breeding the feeder fish yourself, okay. But you don't want to get them from pet stores.
Right.
There are better alternatives, including, mealworms, bloodworms, catching tadpoles, insects even, not stinging insects, not anything venomous or poisons, but, crickets, things like that.
If needed, yeah.
Yeah, you can do
It'll,
those.
sorry.
Some people
We're not
do.
bringing crickets into the
Yeah. In a pinch, if you've got a carnivorous fish and you can't find food for it, you can go to any place that sells reptiles. They will have things like crickets and mealworms and stuff like that. Your carnivorous fish will eat mealworms and stuff like that.
And possibly even like a fish, where they, bait store.
Bait stores.
Bait stores have a lot of chopped up stuff that you can actually feed to the fish here. Because I actually have know somebody that does that. So, I mean, it just depends. But yeah, varied diets is important.
It is.
And cat food is edible, I guess.
Yes, as long as it's prepared correctly, you can feed your koi cat food.
But again, if you have any questions, by all means ask us. We'd be happy to answer. If we don't know if something is safe for a fish, by all means comment. Like our page, share our page, subscribe to our page, invest in our Patreon page, please. But no, enjoy. That's our biggest thing. We want you to enjoy. So like, share, questions, subscribe.
Yep. If you ever have any questions for us regarding fish that you haven't seen us cover before, leave a comment and say, hey, why don't you do an episode on, insert your question or comment here, and we will talk about it and say, gee, should we do that?
Because we will be actually running around soon. We're starting to do a little bit more stuff.
We're getting out of the house more.
So we will find out for you.
Yep.
And we would love questions and comments.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
See you in 2 weeks.